everyone. I am Zenobia Bassin. Welcome to Unit 4 of the Human Resource Management course for this semester. At the end of this unit, we should be able to describe how a new employee gets started on the job, explain what employee performance appraisal means, identify a few challenges associated with appraising employees, describe what it means to place an employee, discuss at least 3 types of employee movements on the job. Differentiate between a temporary separation and permanent separation on the job. Unit 3, we are learning about employee performance appraisal and placement. Session 1, getting the new employee started on the job. After you've employed or selected the people that you've recruited, the appropriate personnel for your job, how do you get them started on the job? At the end of this session, we should be able to explain the concept induction, state 3 preparatory activities to receive a new employee, explain the purpose of an induction checklist. After recruitment and selection, these are the processes involved in getting your worker or your new employee to start work at the organization. First off, you need to induct the employee. The induction process includes training or orientation. So here it is the process of welcoming a new employee and getting him well started on his job. Here, the process includes preparing to receive the new employee. You inform appropriate people, allocate working space for the person. The appropriate people here, we mean the supervisors, the department, who he's going to work with. Appoint a guide and mentor. Provide details to the pay section. After all these, the person needs to be paid for work done. You appoint a personnel to induct the new employee, then you welcome the employee fully into the organization. Checklist for induction or orientation. In the checklist, you need to provide the employee with a tour of the organization, information about the organization, information about the terms and conditions of employment, information about the job or job description. All this information are necessary for the employee to carry out his work effectively. If you have information about the organization, you know what the organization mission is, what the vision is, what organization seeks to achieve in the long term. The terms and conditions would also serve you with your rights and responsibilities on the job. Information on the job or job description will fully describe the job that you're supposed to do, your duties and your responsibilities in the organization. You are supposed to be introduced to other employees with whom there is a working relationship with. So the employees that you are going to work with, you need to be introduced to them so that at least you know their names and you can call on to them when you have any issues. The new employee should be handed over to his department or supervisor for further clarification of roles and how to go about the organizational objectives that he has been employed for. Then you need to follow up on him till he has fairly settled on the job. In following up, it can be in a week. You can't just, as the person who has employed the human resource manager, after a week you can relax, but in a week you should be checking in on him. How are your people that you're working with? How are they coping with you? Are they giving you the right resources? Do you have the right resources? How is your working condition like? Do you like your working environment? This will boost employee morale and make him fully settled to carry out his duties because he knows he has someone who is looking out for him. Next is the probation period. After induction, you fully settle, but you're on probation. Probation here is a period of trial for both the employer and the new employee. So here, you've been employed, but you're on probation. Probation period is subject to each organization and how they go about it. Some organizations are 1 year, some are 6 months, some are 3 months. Pending how you effectively deliver your duties, the organization would then decide whether to keep you on the job or let you go. So the probation period is a trial period for both the employer and the employee, the new employee. So for the period of probation, the employer would assess the capabilities of the new employee, and the employee would also decide whether the job meets his or her career aspirations. Otherwise, the person can decide to let go of the work. During this period, it should be noted, however, that the employee may not enjoy all employment benefits. Because you are not a permanent employee, There may be some benefits that you would not enjoy because you're on probation. So during the period of probation also, either parties to the employment contract has no serious contractual implications because you're on probation. We are testing at what you can do. The contractual terms and conditions are not do not have very serious implications as a permanent employee and an employer would have. Confirmation of appointment marks the end of probation based on approval of a report on the employee. So the report is either prepared by the organization or by the supervisor or by the employee himself. So here we are going to look at it in other sessions. But here, confirmation of appointment marks the end of probation. So after a year, after 3 months, after 6 months, if the organization assesses your report on the work that you've been performing in the organization and they are okay with it, then they can confirm your appointment to be working in the organization. In this session, we learned then that a new employee goes through a probation period after an induction into a new organization. We also noticed that or learned that based on an approved report, the employee is fully inducted into the organization. Thank you. See you in our next session.